In order to launch the visible camera, we push the Vis Display button on the main GUI. Select yes when you see the warning come up. Then you'll have a camera list. Click OK, and it should launch the image. You can zoom in and out to kind of make the camera image the size that you prefer. If you click on View, you can go down and select to draw the crosshair. We'll talk about that next. A way to align the laser spot or the laser transmitter with the camera image and the crosshair on the camera image. You can move this around to set it up where you want. Once you get it set up, you can also open up the histogram plot, which is what you see the counts versus range on the bottom. That's using the histogram display button on the main GUI over there. And now what we see is where we get the laser return, and we also have the camera image. And so we're trying to align the laser spot out in the far field with that crosshair. And it does best if you have something with sharp edges out there, because we're going to move around the laser and try and find the edge of something. So the first thing we want to do is set the scanner into manual mode, and that allows us to use the gain controller to move around the scanner, which will in turn move around the laser transmitter. So we'll click Start Scan, we'll grab our gain controller, the laser's on, and we can start to move the system. So the first step here is we're going to find it in the vertical. So we're going to try and see where that crosshair is when we see the return hit this house. Oh, okay, so there you see a big spike in the histogram, about 1,450 meters. That's the top of the house, right? As we move along, we see we're still hitting the house. If we step up, the house goes away. We step back down, the return from the house is there. So really, that's right on the edge of the house. So there's just a little misalignment between the camera and the laser transmitter. And that's not unusual as you move around. The camera has its own lens, its own field of view. It's not staring through the same aperture. You do have to make small adjustments when you initially set things up. Once it's set up, it's usually fine. Now we're going to try and find the horizontal position. So we found the vertical. So as we step down, we see we're hitting the house with that spike at 1,450 meters. So as we step away, right now, now we're off the house horizontally. And as we start to step back, now we're kind of half on and half off, but you see the crosshair is to the left. So we're going to move the crosshair. I should have mentioned the crosshair is changed by just right-clicking on the image. And so now the crosshair should be aligned with the laser in the X and Y axis because we're halfway on the house here. So the best thing to do is now you can optimize it. You can move it around, double check it. Just use the gain controller to kind of play around, and as you hit things with the crosshair, you ought to see corresponding spikes like that now that we're hitting the house. So you can check it in X and you can check it in Y. It only takes a minute to kind of do this. So now we're strongly on the house. As we start to step off, there we go. We see a spike from the far field out at 2,500 meters, and now we no longer see the house. So you just want to convince yourself that you have everything lined up. So now we're still slightly off. There we go. Now we're right on the edge in the vertical axis. There's not always a nice house out there to point at, but you can find telephone poles, you can find wires. The system is sensitive enough to get a return off of about anything. You can use the mountaintops. Obviously, the straighter the surface is, the easier it is to do this kind of calibration between the visible camera and the laser transmitter. So again, just convince yourself that you're aligned up before you start any kind of testing.